Welcome to Biology Made Easy. Today we are discussing why global human populations grow despite all the interventions and then the implications of the continual growth. In this lesson, we will look at global human population, we'll look at the outlook, we'll look at the statistics, we'll look at the interventions to reduce the population growth, and then we will talk about why human populations still grow and then the implications. Here we have some outlook of global human population statistics. Population of the world 2023 is 8.062 billion people in the world and increases annually by 70 million. The doubling time is estimated below 100 years. The doubling time is the number of years it takes a population size to double, and it's been estimated that it will take below 100 years for this population to double. And before 1990s, the population doubling time was 35 years. It means the population was doubling fast. But now, because of some interventions, the doubling time has been pulled back to 100 years. The United Nations projections world population is that the year 2038, the population is expected to be 9 billion. 2060, population expected to be 10 billion. And then it's estimated that the population will peak at 10.4 billion around 2080s, and then the population will decline. Why the population will decline after the peak? You can imagine that if the population becomes too big, the carrying capacity will not be able to support the population, and so the population will reduce by death or disease or what, but the population will decline, and then possibly the interventions will be working to reduce birth rate. So it's expected that it will peak and then decline. We want to look at global total fertility rates too. And you know the total fertility rate is the average number of births per woman of reproductive age. So the average number of births a woman in her reproductive age will produce. And it's been worked out that in the 1950s, this is United Nations stats, in the 1950s it was 4.9, the global total fertility, 2022 2.27, 2023 2.3, and it's been worked out that the replacement level fertility is 2.1. The replacement level fertility is the number of children per woman that a population needs for a long-term population stability. It means that the total fertility rate is 2.1, then it means that the population will remain stabilized for a long time. So if the fertility rate is 2.1 and below, then the population will not be growing, all right? But the population will stay stable. That is the global fertility rates. But then let's look at the fertility rates of some countries. Now, the EU, the fertility rate is 1.38, is below the replacement level fertility, and yet the population is not stable. We'll find out why. Taiwan is 1.11, South Korea is the least, is 0.7, Niger is 6.1, Chad is 6.0. It means that in some countries in the world, the fertility rates are low, meaning the number of births that is going on is reduced. In these countries, the number of births per woman is still very high, and so the population in these areas are very high. So no wonder the population of the whole world keeps on growing. That is only one reason. We'll look at the other reasons soon. So we now want to look at the interventions to reduce human population growth rate. We have direct interventions to reduce birth rate, and you know the methods of abstinence, pills, condoms, and so many birth control methods is the direct intervention to reduce birth rates. But then there are indirect interventions to reduce birth rates, because you reduce birth rate, you reduce the numbers and the populations go down. The indirect interventions include disease control. Well, the World Health Vaccination Program, immunization against childhood killer diseases, will reduce infant mortalities, and so it's supposed to increase death. It looks like it's rather going to increase birth rate, but no, it reduces birth rate. So diseases like diphtheria, measles, pertussis, that's whooping cough, tetanus, tuberculosis, poliomyelitis, and then these diseases are reduced, and then smallpox, very bad disease, was wiped out by 1977. Very, very bad. So these diseases were reduced by World Health Vaccination Program. Now, discovery of new drugs, every time new drugs are discovered, so it reduces death rate, and then improve medical techniques, also reducing deaths, and then improve sanitary conditions like water and sewage, good drinking water, pollution control. These are all reducing diseases or controlling diseases. But controlling diseases reduces death rate. So why do we say that it's supposed to reduce growth rates? Well, all these diseases reduces birth rate because women know that if they give birth to children, diseases will not kill them, and so the women reduce the number of births because these diseases have been controlled. Before, women will give birth to 6 children because they fear that diseases will kill most of them and be left with 2. Now women know that disease controls reduces birth rate. Now another indirect intervention to reduce birth rate is education. Women now spend long years in education, and so they don't have much time to marry or settle and give up children, and so it reduces birth rate. Socio-economic growth, people are chasing wealth, ambition, etc., rather than settling to produce children, and so indirectly it enables the people to give birth fewer children. Then urbanization, staying in urban areas, the cost of living is high, there are no cultural practices. So all these indirectly enable the women to give birth few children because of time, wealth, and ambition. The question is, why does global human populations grow despite interventions? One thing is that population grows when there's high birth rates, even if life expectancy is low. For instance, here we have a lot of reproductives producing, pre-reproductives will grow to become reproductives, producing, reproductives will go to fill old age. This population is a rapid growing population. It will continue growing even though life expectancy is low. This is a situation of a place like Niger, high birth rate, low life expectancy, and yet the population is growing. Now the population also grows even if there's low birth rate and high life expectancy. Like you have here, you have low birth rates, look at the numbers, low reproductives, low pre-reproductives, and so birth rate is not high, yet post-reproductives are plenty and life expectancy high. And so this, even though it has low birth rate, will have a growing population. Like the EU, we have total fertility rate of 1.38, high life expectancy, and the population is growing. Then another thing about why the world population still grows is that population growth direction changes. If it's changing from a rapid population growth to a slow population growth, the change takes many years to come into effect, because every time there are reproductives that are producing to produce new births to keep the population going, pre-reproductives also growing to become reproductives, and reproductive becoming old age, the population is still growing. So if a change from rapid to slow will occur, it's very slow, and then it also needs interventions that will prevent reproductives from producing so many. So we take the case of South Korea, where even though the population is declining, it's predicted it will take 60 years to halve the population because there are still reproductives in, and it will become a reality if the interventions remain the same or even made tougher. What are the implications for the increasing global human populations? The implications. Now note that the world has the same land and water space. It will not increase. So global population, the same land space, and this is the land space that people living on it, it will not increase. And then if we have for the rapid populated areas like here, the land and water space is the same and the population is increasing. What are the implications? Plus or advantages? Fewer, but yes, there are more people to work the land and also be of social support. Grandmothers and fathers are not living alone. Everybody has so many people around, so social support to give some joy. But the minuses, the disadvantages are plenty. There's a stretch on social amenities of all kinds because it's the same land and water space. So stretch. And then there's land degradation in some of these areas. You have illegal mining, deforestation, destroying the same land space that plenty of people are occupying. And so food insufficiency for the ever-increasing populations. The carrying capacity of the population will not be able to hold the population. Socioeconomic problems, unemployment for teeming, reproductives, plenty. Then immigration, economic migrants will come in, crime, fights, wars, etc. So that is the implication. The land would have to be taken care of and used well once the rapid population has not been changed. Then what about the declining implication for the declining populations? Like this one with a small base, it has very few pre-reproductives, few reproductives. These reproductives are producing and to have more babies to fill this space. Meanwhile, they are growing to become old age post-reproductives. And so these few young ones, pre-reproductives and reproductives, are supporting these huge post-reproductives. And so that is the problem, that few young ones care for old age. More pension schemes and old facilities will have to be put into place. The minus is that many people may be living alone, and yet the plus is big. There's a big land, well taken care of, and sufficient food and amenities for the small population, and yet the disadvantages are there. But for the global world, the increasing populations has its problems of migration and all other problems that go with it. But we've been told that 2080s there, the world population will peak and then it will start decreasing. We hope that all of us will use the small land spaces that we have that will not be increased. We'll use it well and manage the population sizes. If this lesson has been useful, please give us your likes and kindly do subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.